Blaine Cooper.
An inmate at City of Las Vegas Detention Center. Your account balance is $47.26. To hear the charges for this call, press 2. To accept this call, press 5. To refuse this call, hang up now. To block this call and all, this call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking now.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you today?
Oh, you know, I just woke up. So we have a jailhouse thief in here who's been taking commissary, so I've been up all night making sure people weren't stealing our commissary.
Oh, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. People are concerned. I've seen messages online. They say they're concerned that you're going to testify against them in the next trial, the other guys. What do you say about that?
Well, I say if I do, I'm only telling the truth. So I don't think I would be testifying against them. I would just go in there and tell the truth. So
that's it. That's exactly what I said, but
you know, I'm not going to make things up. I'm not going to lie, you know. But to be honest, even when I was there, I don't really know a lot about the Bundy Ranch. I mean, I spent most of the time sitting in a chair in the front yard of the Bundy Ranch and eating Carol Bundy's beef. So.
I hear she has some pretty nice melons.
Yeah, they're she grows her melons out there. They're pretty good. So I haven't eaten any of them yet, though.
No, I hope she sells a lot of them.
Yeah. Has they still haven't come back with verdict yet? I imagine. And
it's been quiet this morning.
Okay. Did my wife get a hold of you guys?
No, I did leave a message on her Facebook, but we're not friends on there, so she probably doesn't even see my message.
Right. Well, she said she called you yesterday, and left you a message, and I said, okay, so.
I'll take another look, but I don't think so.
Okay. But then again, I don't know, so. That's just what she told me.
Yeah. Well, let me see if I can check while we're online. It would be on this phone.
What else is going on? What news is there?
Oh, what news is there? Oh, there's just stupid Kent Hovind drama. It's not even worth talking about, but it's just crazy. Some disgruntled employee went off the wall calling it a compound, his new occult compound. It's really stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Recent calls. Let's see. Phone, mobile, FaceTime. Mount Pleasant yesterday. Mount Pleasant. You. I don't see any call on here from anywhere near Phoenix or Arizona.
It would be Prescott. I'm going to be a 928 number.
I don't see a 928 number.
Okay. Well, she could have lied to me, too. So, she may not want to give up my Facebook. But
well, that's understandable.
But I don't know why she would lie to me.
You know, if she just posts the playlist of your audio, you know, you have your own playlist on this channel. If she would just post a link on there to your playlist, then people could hear from you every day.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think she knows how to post that stuff. That's why I was saying if you guys had access to it, you could do it for her.
Yeah,
and,
I could do it in 5 minutes, and then she could change the password.
I did. Well, I told her, I said, just give them the logins. Just the logins are going to stay the same, so you can still log into it. But I don't know. I said they can set up a donation thing for you too. You know, help and post it so people can donate. But I know when they were asking me about the Bundy Ranch, you know, they asked me. I said I never saw any meetings take place, and I said I wasn't even at the standoff where it took place. I was back with Clive at the stage, videotaping the stage, and so.
Yeah, like I always ask people.
And the prosecutor asked me. He said, when I did the proffer, you know, for this case, he said, I'm really not supposed to talk about it. He told me not to talk about it. I was like, you know, it's not going to matter. Everybody's going to know anyway. So I'm not going to lie to my brothers either. I'm not like that. Even when I took my plea, when I was taking this plea, I went to everybody to jail and told them, you know, we all huddled together, and I told them I was taking this plea. So, but they had other dirt on me that could have gave me like 200 years in effect. So they said if I didn't take this, they were going to charge me with that, and I was like, okay, well, I don't want to do I don't want to be in prison for 200 years. So
I think the one sentence they were concerned about is when you said, "I'll say anything to get out of here."
I think what I said in the letter is I'm going to do everything I can to get home to my family. And what I meant by that is I'm just going to go in and tell the truth. Meaning I'm going to do whatever I can for the process that takes with the proffer and things like that. Does that make sense?
Brother, I don't even know what a proffer is, and the last thing I know.
So you do a proffer, and then they bring you in, and they ask you questions about your involvement in the case. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And a lot of it was just videos that I've already posted to Facebook, things they already know, and then they do what's called a proffer, and based off that information, they have you testify with that information that you bring forward, which would be everything pretty much everybody already knows, or everything. There's not like I'm. Does that make sense? I'm not telling them anything that they probably didn't already know.
That's what I figured.
Even the prosecutor was kind of shocked. He said, so you just went out there to lay your life down and die for these people? You didn't even know them? I said, absolutely. And I said, I would lay my life down for Clive right now if the circumstances were right. If somebody tried to stab him in prison, I would take the knife, you know, and have it plunged into me. I love Clive, and I think he's a good man. This was the right thing to do. You know, it is. So they asked me that. And they said, because they wanted to know if I knew anybody before the Bundy Ranch happened, and nobody knew anybody. It said everybody just came together. It said, try to imagine that there was no conspiracy, that this was a spontaneous event and protest that people wanted to go out and have their voices heard. And he's like, well, what about the standoff? And I said, I don't know. I wasn't over there, and I'd never been over to the area where the impound had happened. I just know that everybody had left over there, and I stayed back with Clive and Buddha and everybody. And I said, and then that was it. I stayed back there with the video camera. I know we got into the Humvee and went down to a bulldozer, and Clive was gonna take a bulldozer over there, but it broke down, and we just went back up and just waited. That's about it. There wasn't really much else that happened. So they asked me if I knew anybody who was there prior to that, and I said no. I said I didn't even know Buddha. Buddha only went to the ranch because I told him about it. Well, I was the guy that got the story viral. I mean, I'm the one that Pete Santelli didn't even know about it until I started getting it viral around on YouTube and my Facebook. And I said, look at this. I said, let's get a movement started down there to get his cattle back. And then so Pete Santelli took the story from there because his network was a little bigger than mine at the time, but I still had a lot of influence from confronting John McCain.
Yep.
And but testifying against them, that just doesn't even compute. I'm not against them. I'm for them. I want them to win. So.
Well, that's what I figured, but what do I know?
You know. And, I wouldn't compromise my opinion and position. I believe in the cause, I believe in the Constitution, and I believe the federal government doesn't have a right to the land. And that's what I stated when I testified in Oregon. I said that right on the stand. The prosecutor even asked me, and you don't believe the federal government has any right to land? I said, absolutely not. The Constitution clearly stated that they cannot own all that land. But, what I believe and what is two different things. So,
ain't that the truth?
And they said, and I said, morally, spiritually, and ethically, I don't feel I've committed a crime. Administratively, maybe I did. I guess I'm guilty. But I said, I certainly don't feel, I said, we were led in there and I said that on the stand, we were led in there by the Holy Spirit. I felt that we were asked by God to do what we did, and we did it. And, we talked about how I believe Robert Lavoie Fennicum was. I didn't compromise anything, actually. I stated everything that I've been saying since I've been incarcerated. The only thing that I stated on the stand that people didn't know about was the meeting that Ammon Bundy had at a dining room table there in Oregon, and. But I think they already knew about that meeting, but they just didn't have anybody that was testifying to it. Because they seemed to know. And I think because there was B.J. Soper, his mothers were there, and I think they told the government about that meeting happened, but I don't know. And so I was honest about it. I said, yeah, he told us to turn off our laptops and cell phones, and, and it was a real brief meeting, but... we talked about taking over the refuge. So, but it was more of we talked about going in there, occupying it. If there was people there when we did it, to tell them to leave politely. And so the government said, well, what if there would have been people there? And I said, I don't know. We would have just told them to leave politely, or they could, I don't know. There was nobody there, so that never happened. You know what I mean?
There was no conspiracy what to do.
Right. Well, their argument and position is because we did that they felt intimidated to come to work. Mm-hmm. Because there's a bunch of armed guys that took over buildings. And really, you have to admit, that is, if you're an employee and a bunch of people you don't know just taken over your building, it does send a little bit of a shock. So I kind of understood their position, but I was like, but that wasn't, this was just I said, just think of this as a glorified protest with firearms. We have a right to bear arms, we have a right to free speech, we have a right to peacefully assemble and protest, and that's what we did. And I said it was peaceful, generally peaceful, until you guys went in and murdered Lavoie.
Yeah.
And so, and I told them that. I said, that's how I feel about it. You don't see it. They don't see it that way, and so really, I testified for them, not against them. I explained, the reason we didn't leave the refuge that night was we were afraid that the federal government was going to ambush and kill us too. But at that point, I did want to get people out of the refuge, and I did tell Jason and all them there that we should go. I said, leadership's gone. This is a bad situation now. I don't want to, I didn't want to see anybody else die. And it was chaos in there. Everybody was running around scared to death. They didn't know what to do. I said, let's just go home. Let them have their building back. We'll regroup. And, my idea was to get everybody in a different state to regroup, so we can remain strong, get more militia guys, to defend. And but that they didn't want to go. And Jason Patrick fought me on that, and he cussed me out, and he said some horrible things to me, and told me I was a coward, and he called me a pussy, and I said, hey, you know what? And it wasn't about being a coward. There's a difference between being brave and being an idiot, and at that point, staying there was stupidity. Period. That's all there is to it. Nobody could make the argument that we had to stay there at that point.
Yeah, and why was it at the refuge? Why wasn't it at somebody's house?
Well, now here's the reason we took over the refuge. Now, the reason we did that was because of what happened to the Hammonds. Now, that refuge has been used to abuse ranchers off of their land to extend that refuge. It's gobbled up 100 ranches in the area. And then after what had happened to the Hammonds, now this is what I was told while I was in the refuge, and I was there with Ammon when this happened. 2 people came in, eyewitnesses, that watched the federal government, and I think Ammon Bundy got video of this. They drip torched the Hammond Ranch to try to burn it down on purpose. And there was transcripts that they had from the BLM, audio transcripts that for radio communication that said, burn the fucking Hammond Ranch down. Excuse my language, that's what it said.
Wow.
And that was quoted.
Wow.
But nobody could find the transcripts, but they did eyewitness the drip torching. And that's why, and I don't know if that was the first or the second fire. I think that was the second fire. And so the only reason he lit the back burn was to put out the fire the government started. No resources were sent to put that fire out.
No.
The Hammonds put that out, but because it caught some of the federal government's land on fire, they charged him with domestic terrorism. So what I think happened, they were trying to force him off to sell that ranch. They refused.
Yeah.
And they couldn't find a way to get him out of there, so they said, let's drip torch it and just burn it down. When that didn't work, they said, oh, well, we can get him for domestic terrorism. And so they used this is where we come up with that Bible scripture that says, shall the throne of iniquity, which devises evil by law, have any fellowship with you? That's using the law for evil. And that's what they did. Now, I don't know how much proof there is to that. I do know that the eyewitnesses did come in, and I heard Ammon Bundy say that clear as day. If I'm wrong, and I heard it wrong, I don't know, but this is what I've been telling everybody when I go on the radio, because that's how I remember it. And I even said it in the documentary that's coming out on DirecTV if I made the edit. Because I thought that was important information to get out. But after we exhausted every legal avenue, I even signed a petition of because I represented about 100,000 people, and said, hey, this has got to stop. These people have because a federal judge, and see, this is funny because my attorney was talking to me, and she says, how is this double jeopardy? Because my attorney likes to play devil advocate in me, the one in Oregon. Mm-hmm. And I said, how is it not double jeopardy? The Constitution is clear. You cannot be put into twice jeopardy for the same crime twice, period. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's abundantly clear. And I said, so they've already went to court. A federal judge already ruled that they've served their time and they were done. But 5 years later, you try to put them back, or you put them back in prison. I said, that's double jeopardy. Yeah. The federal judge already ruled it was cruel and unusual punishment. There was already a ruling. So you're usurping a federal judge rule to destroy people's lives again because you didn't like the outcome. And so, I mean, how ridiculous does this have to really start to get to where you say, you know what? Since the government's been so blatantly
lawless
and has treated these people so horrible, and they've been the brunt of a huge injustice, let's go take over the refuge and protest. And the idea was that because you're taking over,
1 minute remaining,
it'll get the media out there for one thing, and we can get the message across that needs to get across. Well,
and that was a great success.
Yeah, but the media was very horrible to us. Yeah. A lot of media was. Some weren't. Some were actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. And so that was the idea, and it worked. And You know, but unfortunately now we're all sitting in prison with them.
Yep, that sucks.
And you think every now and then the government would just listen to the voice of their people, but they clearly just don't care.
Yeah.
So the next step is revolution.
New boss, same as the old boss.
Yep, revolution. That's it. If either the people rise up and have a revolution, or just deal with it. Good luck. That's what I say.
Yep. I hear you, brother. Loud and clear.
Because you're only voting to enslave yourself, as far as I'm concerned at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Unless somebody wants to clean out the entire...
Well, there you go. Blaine Cooper today.
And 6 cents. To hear the charges for this call, press 2. To accept this call, press 5. To refuse this call, hang. This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking now.
Sorry, I cut us off there, but there was some more I wanted to get out. The judicial system needs to be completely gutted. It's crazy. Hello?
Yeah.
Are you there? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, my friend just got locked up in Clark County.
So, but, I mean, I want it stated for the record that I am not against the Bundys. I am not against my brothers. I love my brothers very much. However they want to view me, because, you know, I took this route. But I'm under the gun. I don't really have a choice. And I do have kids. And, you know, I have to think about my family, too. And I had to make a decision. I waited a year, almost a year, to make that decision. So, I mean, I guess if they're mad at me for what I did, I guess they could thank me for at least I stayed out of the first trial. You know, but I wouldn't do anything to deliberately hurt them. Does that make sense?
Of course.
You know, and I really would. I honest to God, adore the Bundys. I mean, my own family rejected me. Now, you should read my PSR report. I wish I could get a copy out there so people could read, you know, things that I suffered through my childhood. You know, it was in the, you know, both of my parents were, not my mom, but, you know, my father figures were very abusive to me. My real dad, my biological father, more than my stepdad, but, you know, I remember my stepdad, he was a police officer for the city of Phoenix for 30 years. We were playing Street Fighter one time when I was like 12 years old. I think it was 11 or 12 on the Super Nintendo. That was back when Super Nintendo was out. And I got mad at him because he kept beating me, and I threw a paddle. He put me in one of those cop neck holds and choked me out until I was unconscious.
Wow.
So, I mean, and I just thought that's how families were. You know?
Nope.
But looking back on it, I would never, ever do that to anybody in my family. Never. I mean, my son, I spanked once when he was 6. That was it. That's the only time I've ever had to discipline him. He's a good kid. And I'm very proud of him. And my 2 little girls, I think I smacked Mackenzie's hand once because she tried to mess with the electrical socket and put a piece of metal in there, and I went, no, but it wasn't like, you know, it was just a normal discipline, and then that was it. My kids are very good kids. They're very smart, and yeah, I love them to death. I'm very lucky to be blessed with such awesome children.
What time is it in Vegas right now?
I don't know. They don't have a clock in here.
Is it like 9:30?
It might be. This is like the first day room.
Okay.
And so that usually happens, I think, around 9 o'clock.
Okay, listen, call me back in about half an hour or so, and we'll have the verdict. It's like
okay. But yeah, so I want it stated out there that I love the Bundys very much. I would not do anything to deliberately hurt them. I'm not going to lie. I know Lisa Bundy called me a liar and the Oregonian. I think Lisa Bundy was upset, but I think that was before Ann Bundy came in and confirmed, some of my testimony. And so, obviously this happened a year ago. I don't think any of us can remember every detail specifically, but, I did the best I can to tell the truth. I think people were just upset that, I was testifying to the government, and that can reduce my time. They haven't made me any promises, but at this point, I had to make a decision for my family, and you know, it wasn't an easy decision. I almost wish to God I didn't have kids. If I didn't have kids, then it would have been a lot easier to sit here for 6 years. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
But I have to listen to my daughter suffer every day on the phone, and it is very hard to hear her cry to me and hear her little voice. My daughter said, "Daddy, you should have never went to the refuge." My little girl told me that. And so, that really hurt. It stuck me right in the heart, and I'm like, I finally told her, I said, okay, Daddy's going to see what he can do to try to get home faster. You know, I reached out. I'm sorry, I reached out to my attorney. I said, ask the prosecutor, you know, is there anything I can do? The only thing I could do is come in and tell them my side of the story. And I don't think they really like my side of the story, because I said, I think because they did try to tell me that the video when they're throwing the Bundys to the ground and abusing them, that video was doctored. And I said, look, I've edited video my whole life. I'm a videographer. I have a production company. I know just about every video editing program that's out there. That video is not doctored. You can't make me believe that. That's straight out of the camera. They really did abuse those people. And so I don't think he liked that I said that. But I said, I'm not gonna tell a jury that that's doctored. I'm gonna tell them that is legit. So
what paper?
The video.
Oh, video.
Yeah, they were telling me that. Did you see the video when they threw the woman to the ground? I think that's Ammon Bundy.
Oh yeah.
And that's what got me out there. I was so pissed when I saw that. I was like, oh my God. And then they tased Ammon for cooking hot dogs. I mean, they really were very abusive to the Bundys. I think Lisa Bundy had 60 rifles pointed at her head. And when I saw that, you know, that was the real kicker. I said, I'm going there. There ain't no way I'm going to let them get away with this. And that's when I called everybody out and, you know, and got it viral and said, hey, let's go out there and let's protest with them and help get his cattle back. And start a movement to get his cattle back, which I meant protest, does that make sense? The standoff was kind of, you know, nobody planned that. It just kind of happened. But I wouldn't even call it a standoff, because I think if they weren't there, they would have killed all those protesters. Period. Mm-hmm. Was there a time in history the federal government hasn't killed our own people for protesting land issues?
Yeah. So they
pretty much wounded knee in pretty much every land dispute in history. They went in and killed everybody over it.
They wanted you to lie and say the video was doctored? Is that what you said?
No, he didn't tell me to lie. I just remember him saying that, and I'm like, well, I can't testify that video was doctored, and so then I'm not going to. So I don't know if he liked that, because I'm not going to lie for him. The video's legit. I said they were abused, and I said I'm going to testify to that.
They wouldn't even allow the video in the courtroom.
Right, so it might not even come up. So I can't tell you all the details, but all I can tell you is that I don't think my testimony is going to be damning. I think it's just going to be the truth, and that's up to a jury to make the decision of what that is. That's why there's a jury. So, okay. And ultimately, it's in God's hands. But I want my brothers to know, and the Bundys to know, I would never do anything to deliberately hurt them.
Okay. Well, and, that's where I'm at.
If people are mad at me about that, I would say, you know what, come and sit in the cell for a year, and then you do it then.
Right.
If you think it's so easy.
That's what I say. When people give generalities, I always ask for specifics. I want a specific answer to what your problem is.
Right. Well,
and,
I tell them, I'm not an informant. I've never received money from them. As a matter of fact, this is how bizarre this case really is. Do you know I've never been talked to by anybody in law enforcement since this movement started? Not one time was I ever pulled over. Not one time was I ever questioned. Not one time did I ever see a federal agent at my door. Not one time did I ever talk to a BLM agent. Ever.
That's interesting.
So if I was committing crimes this whole time, why didn't they come and tell me I was? Why didn't they come and question me about this? Nothing. Not a peep. So
You mean before you were arrested?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
so because if I committed a crime at the Bundy Ranch, surely an FBI agent would have come and asked me questions about it. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Never once. I never even got a phone call from one.
I just think that people are on their last nerve, and
Right.
they're taking their anger out on the wrong people. And
Well,
the verdict
and
the verdict
I
is
tell
due in
people,
20 minutes.
I tell people straight up, the Bundy Ranch would have never happened if I didn't pursue it. If I was the one that sold a story, I pulled it off and got it national attention, and I'm the one that told Pete Santelli about it, and I was a big influence behind that. And so, you know, it was the right thing to do, I believe, and that's what I'm going to testify in court. It's the right thing to do. Period. And I don't believe a crime was committed. Now, did I take a plea? Absolutely. You know, they had more dirt on me, and I was scared to roll the dice with 88 years of my life. So, and who wouldn't be?
Yep.
And to that, if I had bad attorneys, I think, or well, I wouldn't say they were bad, but they didn't seem to want to fight for me. And I think that I think I made the best decision I could for the position I was in. If people were so worried about that happening, why didn't they get a crowdfunding together and buy me an attorney who was capable? You know?
There's no such thing, but
exactly. But you see what I'm saying? I mean, people sure didn't get me an attorney to get me somebody who was actually going to fight for me.
Yeah. No, I understand.
But a federal case to get even with the much as Ammon Bundy paid his attorney, I asked Krista if I were to retain an attorney for a case like this, what would it cost? And she says it costs like $2 million.
Are you serious?
More. Yeah, well, because they have to get investigators. They have to. I mean, when you do it right, you need a lot of money in the budget, and it makes sense. I mean, but just think it's funny in this country. Unless you're ultra rich and an ultra celebrity,
you're screwed.
You're screwed. You're guilty. And so, what did people want me to do? I mean, are people only going to be happy? Am I only a patriot enough if I'm in a body bag or doing the rest of my life in prison? You know, and it's. I think I have been martyred enough. I think all of us have, and I think I've done a lot. Well, I did do a lot in this movement. I mean, nobody could say that I wasn't a patriot. It just that. How could people even make a claim if they're angry at me? So, I mean, I sacrificed everything I had. I believed with all my heart that we could get this country back, and I fought for it. I confronted senators to their face. I put myself out there. I made myself a target, and here I am sitting in jail. I paid for it.
Yep.
So freedom isn't free, you know, and unfortunately, a man lost his life over it. And Lavoy, I was very close to Lavoy at the refuge. It was really hard for me to accept that he was dead. It just didn't make sense to me because I really didn't think the federal government would do that. I thought that this could be solved peacefully, but when does the federal government ever do something peaceful? Never. They blow people off the map and rebuild them. That's their peace treaty.
Okay, well, call me back in like a half an hour or an hour, and I'll let you know what the verdict is.
Oh, are they expecting 1.5 hours?
Yeah. Well, they said at 10 o'clock Vegas time.
Right. Well, and I think if they win, I think it does change the case a lot. They're going to have to change charges. They can't charge the Bundy with assault on a BLM officer.
No, because, I mean, I don't know the details, but the only guy I saw with a gun pointed anywhere was the guy that's on trial right now.
Right, and if he's acquitted, then I think that has to drop off the indictment.
Yeah.
Now, but they'll argue, Well, that doesn't mean a conspiracy didn't take place. That's how they work. So, because their definition of a conspiracy is an agreement. But who am I? I'm not a lawyer, but again, I want everybody to know out there, I love them, and I love the Bundys. They are my friends, and I would still lay my life down for them in the right circumstances. And, my hands were tied in this. There wasn't a lot more I could do. I wish I didn't. I wish there was another way, but I had to think about my family in this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the Bundys would have done, if they were in a position where they felt they had no way out and they had to make a decision based on what they had to do for their family, I'm sure they would do it too. Because they have families and kids too. And and that's what I told my attorney, because when the case first was in Oregon, she asked me, she goes, would you cooperate with the federal government? I said, absolutely not. She goes, well, you have a family that you have to think about. I said, the Bundys have a family too. So I said that's kind of selfish. I said, so the Bundys, I need to stick out the fight with them. And that kind of hurt to hear from my attorney. But my circumstances are different. I'm a convicted felon. At the Bundy Ranch, I had a firearm I wasn't supposed to have. And they had that against me. So that they were going to charge me with that, and that carried a lot more time. But then again, I believe I have a right to bear arms. I don't think they have a right to tell me I can't have a firearm, period. I did my time. Shouldn't my rights be back?
Yes.
Why do we have a perpetual enslavement of rights? If I did my time and the case is over, people should have their rights reinstated, period. Off paper. There should be some kind of, like the Jewish people do every 7 years, they have that Jubilee or whatever, where they forgive the dead.
Mm-hmm.
We need to forgive people their past. Take them off paper, let them start fresh. Mm-hmm. But maybe that's too much to ask, But I do think that people should be thanking me for staying out of the trial. I think if I had went to the trial with the Bundys, I think I would have hurt their defense because with some of the videos I made. So, especially when they show my Quran burning video. Well, I'm telling liberals to go screw themselves, you know what I mean? And if you got a liberal juror, what's he going to think when he sees that?
Well, how could that even be relevant?
It's not. What they were trying to do is show that you're either unstable or violent by that video. That's what they told me. And I said, well, how am I violent? I didn't hurt anybody.
No.
That's my way of protesting Islamic violence. I said, yeah, it might be in poor taste, and maybe it's a bit
it was in great taste,
radical, or but I said it was meant to be a shock video, and it was meant to be a little funny, And I do hold some of those convictions. I mean, they do kill. They have murdered Christians over 100,000 a year or more. I mean, there's more Christians killed in the last century than any other time in history. And it's just these Islamic radicals are running around and they're beheading people. They're beheading their own people. They behead Muslims because they're from a different sect. You got Sunni, Shiite, you got all these different branches, and they kill each other.
Yeah.
And they're killing, they straight slaughter Christians because the Quran Muhammad tells them to do that.
Yeah.
Muhammad was a demonically possessed pedophile, period.
I know.
He was not a prophet.
No.
Allah is not God. Allah is a pagan moon god.
Yep.
That is not the name of God, period. And anybody who tries to say that they worship the same God is just simply not true. It's not true.
Hey, check this out. You wouldn't hear about this in there because it wasn't even on the news, but there was a doctor, a female doctor up in Michigan, and she just got arrested for performing female FGM, female genital mutilation, on little girls.
Wow.
And the irony is you have all these stupid feminists marching around talking about coat hanger abortions, but they won't talk about the hundreds of little girls that are being mutilated in the United States of America.
Right, right. But you know how the liberals are. They pretend.
1 minute remaining.
They're like, oh, they have problems. We need to be sympathetic to them. No, if they're touching little kids, they need to be obliterated. But then again, that's if they're guilty of that. Look at Charles Dyer. I mean, they set that poor guy up and destroyed his life.
Yep.
Knowing they have evidence that he's innocent, and they still they suppress it. They won't even let the evidence come forward, and they suppress it.
I know, brother. You need to keep that guy in your prayers because he's very isolated.
I advocated Charles Dyer on my Facebook page a lot. I uploaded his remember his video he did with the mask and his uniform? Yeah,
his father just died.
I uploaded that on Facebook and got it viral again.
He couldn't even go to his own dad's funeral.
Yeah, it's terrible. If you get control of my Facebook, I would like you to advocate all the political prisoners on my Facebook page.
Hey, did you ever get the business card that we sent with everybody's picture on it? Oh, I think he's gone.